Welcome to the show. My name is Anton Farrow. I'm a CrossFit level 3 coach. I started Blue House Fitness 10 years ago in my garage as an experiment. I also co-founded an agency called Common. We work with brands such as On, Nike, Adidas, and so on. I'm also an avid lover of building staircases. I'm secretly very good at musical theater, and I will probably take your money at a poker table. We wanted to have a hot take today about how we feel about, is CrossFit a sport or is it a methodology? And our strong take is CrossFit is a sport. It's not a methodology. CrossFit has changed my life. I've done it now for 10 years. I love it. I've coached a ton. I'm a level 3 coach. I've competed a lot. I've come very close to making the games as an age group athlete. But I've also watched a lot of people quit and burn out. The more I've done it, the more clear it's become is that treating CrossFit as a methodology leads to that. That's where people go. They train and then they quit.
All right. I quit. I quit. I quit. I quit, Mr. White.
And I think I know why now. It's because they treat it as a training methodology instead of a sport. And if you want to get better at a sport, you have to train in such a way to get better at that sport. And it's not just doing the same thing every day. It's not just like playing the sport. That's not how you get better. And so you have to start training like how athletes train. I want to tell a story. I am a member at a golf club.
We know by now, okay? We don't need to keep saying that.
I love golf.
We know.
And golf is hard. And I remember I was talking to the head pro there. I was doing a lesson, trying to get better. I was like, this place is really successful. You have hundreds and hundreds of members. I'm trying to get really good. Why is everybody else here? And he said, everybody is here to get better. Everybody here is actually trying to be the best golfer they can be. And obviously not everybody, but he's just saying it's a culture of people trying to be the best amateur golfer, or there are pros there. So there's all different levels. And it just kind of hit me. Like a golf club is actually very strong culture because everybody's trying to get good. And they're not just playing golf. What I realize is that everybody's there like working on skills. They're working on how to get better. They're working on their mental game. They're working on the putt, like all these different things. It just hit me really hard that I thought people just went there to just have fun and just play golf every day. That's actually not... that's not the culture. They're actually there to get better. Sometimes in gyms, that's not the case, especially CrossFit gyms. You just come and you work out. And I think without realizing it, the mental side of it just becomes too much. You're not actually improving. And there's something in that makes you eventually go, I just don't know if this is for me. Yeah, CrossFitters don't do this. You know, we show up, we hit a workout, we do whatever's on the whiteboard, and we hope we get better. And I'm just trying to imagine if other sports did that. What if marathoners just ran marathons? They're like, that's how I'm going to get better. I'm just going to keep running a marathon. Or a soccer player just played soccer all the time. And I think what you actually see in other sports is when they do that, they always get hurt, always get injured from too much repetition of things. And there's no slowing down and working on getting better.
It would be like if you played soccer and you played a soccer game every day. And like you never worked on drills.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. Any sport, really. You just played the game every day. That's what we do in CrossFit. We're playing the game every day, like you say.
We're playing the game every day.
And we do not need to do that.
His training routine is very specific and smart, focusing on his weaknesses such as heading and his defending ability. He instead double downs on his strength, and that's why he's always the best player on the pitch.
No, and it's like it needs to be a huge culture shift. I don't think CrossFit has longevity, just like any sport, golf, soccer, running. Nothing has longevity if you just play every day. If High Rocks has no longevity if you just run a High Rocks every day. High Rocks is doing much better at this. I see people training and they're actually trying to like train these certain movements. We don't do that a lot. It's okay. It's a new sport, but we're getting to a place where we can do better. And I've done this for 10 years, and we clearly now understand how to do this better. We've done this for a couple years now with our personal programming design, and it's 100% better. So the first myth is doing CrossFit makes me better at CrossFit. It doesn't. Just doing more of the sport or the training or training methodology, whatever we want to call it, does not make you better. It makes you sweaty, makes you sore, makes you feel good, puts you on your back at the end of a workout.
3, 2, 1, done.
But it doesn't necessarily make you better or guarantee you progress. And here's the truth, just like other sports, if you play soccer to get better at soccer, you're not going to get better. You need to do drills. You need to build strength. You actually need to work on your conditioning. Then you scrimmage, and then you play the game. Like, that's the process. Or if you run marathons, you don't just keep running marathons. You do speed work. You lift. You taper back. You time trial. So maybe you do like 50% of your race to see if you are holding the paces you've been practicing, and then you race. So it's crazy in CrossFit that we think we can just do random time trials all the time and expect to get better. They've always wanted to be a training methodology, and that's the problem, is they need to decide what they are. And I think even if they're not competing at the highest level, just like I said at the golf club, there's lots of people that are trying to be the best version of themselves. And I think we would see a lot of beginner athletes try to get better if they tried this way. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've seen a beginner or somebody new to this type of fitness, and they're just tired and fatigued and just burn out fast because it's way too hard or intense. And they can't compete every day. Sport is testing. Training is preparation for the test. And CrossFit is a test. When you do Jackie, that's a test. When you do Fran, when you do the Open, when you do semifinals, when you do a local competition, these are the test sets, just like you would in any other sport. And then everything else is training to prepare for the test. And that should look quite different, just like it does in every other sport. I mean, we know now, like, elite cyclists, elite aerobic athletes are spending almost their whole year with little to no intensity. And then they just turn it up right before they go. And I think we're seeing now, we have a little bit of insight. Maybe we'll show a clip now of, Jason Hopper, who just won, talking about how he really intensified as he got really close to the games. And, we don't get all the insight, but I can almost guarantee you that it was like only intensified as he got closer. He even said that he started training alone because he was feeling too much pressure to race in training.
Many pieces in training this past summer where I had to just not do it because, I looked at it and I was like, hey, this isn't going to be 100%. This isn't even going to be 90%. So like there was various times this summer where I was just like, hey, I can't do this. It's going to be at 85%. It's not worth it, and there have been many times where I had to quit, stop in the middle of a workout. Like the intensity is not here. A lot of people would be like, you're a quitter, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, no, I feel like everything I do, I want to be able to maximize the intensity of this because that's what it's going to be like at the games.
I never thought about this. I always had you always hear like old school CrossFit, like, oh, go get in a training camp and have these people to train with because it'll push you. But the problem is you shouldn't be pushing in your off season. And so Hopper figured something out. I actually get a lot better when I'm alone because I can just like take it a little bit more easy. That's so counterintuitive for CrossFitters. Like, I need to be pushing every day. What? If you want to progress in CrossFit, you need periodized training. And that is so counterintuitive to the culture of just Metcons. You need strength work. CrossFitters need a lot more hypertrophy, which we do a lot. It's like the best thing you can do to actually get pull-ups and push-ups and all the gymnastics is just get really strong. It's really easy. You need an aerobic base. You need skill development. And you need competition exposure. And again, I've said this in other videos, but I think it's 2 to 3 times a year. You just need a place to go test it. The Open's a great one. It's in your gym if you go to a CrossFit gym. And then you maybe pick a local one and then maybe like one other thing. And that's it. So then you can actually have ample time to train. Maddie, how many times are you competing this year?
I think competitions are so much fun. So just sad here, but I understand. Okay, I get it. Trick question, Coach. You answer that.
Well, I think you've had a really good season. We definitely like it
Yes.
got really long because you had the
I made semis, but we weren't planning on it. Okay.
exactly. So, and that's why you finished the collegiate competition, which you won. You know, now we're in the off season, and now we're like, let's actually. And you got a little
open.
shoulder thing, so it's like you need
got
to
a shoulder
you
thing.
gotta chill.
I've been chilling.
I think CrossFit, I hear this all the time. It's very confusing for people because they don't know what it is. I would encourage you to tell people that CrossFit's a sport. We really want to encourage, like, it doesn't have to feel hard every day. And, you know, we're even playing with ideas of scrapping all that. We have some good ideas coming to you in January 2026 of how we think running a CrossFit box could be and should be if we're training. But yes, if CrossFit is always a test, it's totally exhausting and your body can't keep up with it.
Well, and I think that's why you see a lot of these elite athletes have been doing it for a while. They just fall off. Like they're just done.
Yeah.
Because you can't do it mentally and physically. You can't do it.
The longevity of a CrossFit athlete is really sad. And you have to give props to some of the people like Vikowski, who had a great longevity in the sport, but he trained so different than everybody else. He was one of the first ones. He didn't share a lot of his training, pretty much did not do any aerobic work in his off season because he was already so good. And he worked on strength. He gained like 1 to 2 pounds of muscle every year. And it was really cool to see over the years how he still was good at aerobic workouts, but then he was also then starting to finish in the top 10 in strength workouts. I do want to have one thought just around, you can treat CrossFit as fun. You can go play pickup basketball, pickup sports. You could be in like a fun rec league. I just want to say though that in a rec league or in it, like you still are competing. You can engage in CrossFit in that way. You totally can. You can come hit a couple workouts, but just understand that you're not going to get better. And if that's okay with you, then that's okay. You're just there to train. But from my experience, if we really sat somebody down and put them, you know, through a lie detector, they would probably admit that they want to get better. Because CrossFit, just like any other sport, is much more fun when you're good. Okay? It's not fun to play sports when you suck. Right?
Yeah, when the class workout has bar muscle ups, you want to be able to do those,
You want
right?
to do them. I don't really care.
You care.
No, you care.
I know you do.
You're lying.
You are.
Okay?
Stop lying to yourself.
You want to get better. Yeah. Here's my final word. CrossFit is awesome. The sport is so much fun, right? We love it. It's humbling. It's such a powerful sport, but it's still a sport. And if you want to get better, you have to train like it's a sport. But know the difference and stop pretending random workouts are enough if you want real progress, okay? Like I said earlier, we don't get better at golf by just swinging. We don't get better at marathons by just running. And you won't get better at CrossFit by just doing CrossFit. You need a plan. You need to test your fitness throughout the year, and you need structure. That's how real athletes train. And if you want to be one, that's how you do it. And if you want help, we can help you.
We got you.
We got you. So that's our hot take. CrossFit ain't a methodology of fitness. It's a sport.